Deno is awesome, and fast, and secure. But migrating an existing Node app is not always the easiest process. Or should I say, was not the easiest process. I'm going to show you just how easy it is now, thanks to a bunch of work that's gone into Node compatibility and NPM support. Let's get into it. Here we have a Node application that's an Express server using the PG package to connect to Postgres, and then Drizzle ORM to send queries and mutations. We have a couple of CRUD endpoints, or I guess CR endpoints, so we can get all notes, or if we send a post request and include a title, we can create a new note. The schema for our database is also super simple. We have one table for notes, which has an ID and a title. But we can imagine this is a much larger application using PG, Express, and Drizzle across many files. So we can use this Thunder client extension to send HTTP requests to each of our endpoints directly from VS Code. So if we send a GET request to notes and click send, we get back an array of all of the notes in our database. So currently we just have this one to check out those awesome launch week features. Hey, you should do that too. We can also add a new note by sending a post request to the same URL with the title, work on my hackathon project. You should do that one too. So if we send that request, we get back our new note, and to be absolutely sure we've written this to the database, we can send another request for all of our notes, and we see both our very important notes that we should work on right after this video. Now we could just refactor this Node app to be a little bit more Deno, so we could use an Oak server instead of Express. We could use Supabase JS for all the database stuff. That's a totally valid option, and let us know in the comments if that's a video you want to see, but it may not be realistic for an existing significantly large application. So let's use these same NPM packages and see just how little code we actually need to change to make this compatible with Supabase Edge Functions and the Deno runtime that powers them. So let's initialize this folder as a Supabase project with npx Supabase, and then we're going to say @latest to make sure that we're definitely running the latest version, and then the command init. And we're not going to generate VS Code workspace settings for this example. Now if we have a look at our project, we've got this new Supabase folder, so we can create a new Supabase Edge function by running npx Supabase functions new, and then the name of our function. So in this case, notes. And now inside that Supabase directory, we have a functions folder, and then a folder for our notes function, and then its entry point, which is this index.ts file. So rather than refactoring this one with all of the Deno stuff, let's just copy the contents of index.js directly into our index.ts file. We also need this schema.js file to be within our notes folder, and then this .env file to be in our functions directory so that we can connect to Postgres using this connection string. If you need the value for this connection string, you can head over to your Supabase project, and then under settings, database, and then the connection pooling section, you want to copy this connection string here, and then when you paste that into your .env, you just need to update your password like this. Magic. Now we can serve this function locally by running npx Supabase and then functions serve. We also want to load in our .env file, so we can say --env file and then give it the path .env. And since we're not implementing any auth stuff for this example, we can also pass the flag --no-verify JWT. You basically want this flag if you're planning to call Supabase Edge Functions outside of Supabase JS. So since we're sending these HTTP requests directly to these endpoints, we don't want to first check if they're an authenticated Supabase user, because that doesn't really make sense. And the command failed anyway, because this serves the functions locally and Supabase start is not currently running. So we could either change this to deploy and deploy a production version of this, or since I have Docker installed and running, I can run the entire Supabase stack locally with npx Supabase start. And now that that's up and running, we can clear that out and run that command to serve our functions again. And now we're serving those functions on port 54321. And let's just copy that port number and then /functions/v1, and we can paste that in here and click send. We'll see we get some errors, which makes sense because this is written to run in a Node environment, but we're using a Deno runtime. It has imports from npm, where Deno requires a full path and version, and we're also using globals like process, which simply do not exist in a Deno environment. So let's refactor. We could update these imports inline, and we could add a path to npm and specify a version for every dependency, but then we need to update every import statement across our entire application. Again, imagine this is a larger application with many files importing the same package over and over and over again. That's a lot of places to potentially make a typo. Let's instead create an import map to do this translation dynamically for us, meaning we don't actually have to touch those import statements at all. So let's create a new file in our functions directory called import_map.json. And this will be a big JSON object where we can copy across our dependencies from package.json. So let's take this whole blob from here, and then in our import map file, we can paste that one in and then update the key for dependencies to be imports. And then we just need to modify the value for each one of our dependencies. So for @types/express, we just want to add the path npm:, and then let's copy the name of our package to avoid those typos and paste it in here. And then we need to specify a specific version, so we can say @ and remove this caret. And then the same for drizzle ORM. So we'll copy the name of the package, @ and then remove that caret. Same for express, let's copy that package, get rid of the caret, npm:, package name @this version. And the same for PG, get rid of the caret, npm:, package name @this version. Now something to call out here is this will work fine for PG and Express, because if we have a look at our imports, we're just importing the default module from both of those packages. But with Drizzle, we're importing from Drizzle ORM and then going to the submodule node-postgres. So to make submodules work in our import map, we just need to duplicate this line for Drizzle and say if you're looking for Drizzle ORM /something, then we want to look up npm:/Drizzle ORM @this version, and then add one more slash at the end. So if we're just importing from Drizzle ORM, it will use this path, but if we're importing from a submodule of Drizzle ORM, then we'll look for a submodule instead. So that should do it for importing packages from npm, but we still have this statement for process, which is a global in Node that doesn't exist in the Deno runtime. We could refactor this to use the Deno global, which has access to all of those environment variables, but again, to minimize the changes we need to make across our project, we can leave this as process, and now we can import process from node:process. And this statement to process.env will just magically work again. So we can test our two endpoints again to confirm the functionality of our app is still working correctly. So if we make a GET request for /notes and send this one, we get back all of our notes from the database, and we'll copy that new port and path for our Supabase Edge function and paste that into our post endpoint, so we can create a new note with the title, like this video, and subscribe to channel. Did you forget to do that one? While you're doing that, I'll click send, and we can see that new note has been added to the database. So our new Supabase Edge function version of our application is working correctly, and we've been able to do it with very minimal changes, basically just to how we import packages. So now that you can use Supabase Edge functions for more stuff, why not check out this video right here, where we interface directly with Hugging Face models to generate text embeddings, building super powerful AI apps on top of Supabase Edge functions. But until next time, keep building cool stuff.